Oh!
Okay, I'll go.
It's
I'll
too
go.
early in the morning for
I know,
that,
it is a
Paul.
bit. No, I'm just trying to warm up here. Slap myself around the head. Oh boy. The Hysterics show. Ladies and gentlemen.
We are gathered here at this wake.
What time's the coffin arriving?
Well, Paul, I have really looked forward to this because, as I told you, I was at the press conference when you came to Dallas, you and the Beatles, in 1964. And it has been one of my most cherished memories all these years. So it's taken me 20 years to be able to sit here and talk with you, but it's worth waiting for.
It's great, yeah. I've been waiting 20 years too. See you again.
Thank you. First of all, I have to tell you how much I enjoyed.
Sorry, we have a mic rustle here.
From whom?
Goodness me, just when she was getting
From
onto the
me?
compliments.
Oh, okay.
Do you need the whole thing again?
Yeah, just from the
Need to
start.
start the whole thing?
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
There goes our
Okay, do
spontaneity.
you want to check it?
Yeah. Hello, hello. Talkie.
If I move I won't move any more than that. Okay.
That's good. Okay, yep, me too. Hello.
I will
Russell,
not do
Russell.
the funky chicken or any of that while we're doing.
Later for the picture.
Should we pick up or start at the top? Yeah, okay. Paul, I remember so well, 1964, you came to Dallas, and you made so many stops, I'm not sure that you can remember which one was Dallas, and you did so many press conferences, you can't remember which one it was. But I was at that press conference, and all these years, these 20 years, it has remained one of my most cherished memories. Now, it has taken me 20 years to be able to sit here and talk with you one-on-one, but it's worth waiting for.
Well, I was working on it, get to meet you again.
Took you 20 years to line it
No,
up.
that's true, Bobbie.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. Paul, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed, give my regards to Broad Street.
Oh, thank you very much.
And I have to tell you that in 20 years of traveling around, having celebrities come to me, never have my associates at the station been so excited that, are you really going to talk to Paul McCartney? It was, if I were talking to the Pope, I don't think they'd be any more impressed.
Is she really going out with him?
Well, they didn't ask me that,
No.
but they were very, very excited. So this...
Just a big hi to them.
Good, they'll like that.
They're watching.
This leads me to wonder about something. Could Beatlemania start all over again because of Broad Street?
Well, I don't know really. It's strange because the record companies, what they're doing is they're re-releasing a lot of the Beatles stuff and showing all the old videos. So I mean, of its own volition, I mean, it's kind of happening in a small way anyway, because the young kids haven't seen it. That's the amazing thing. As to whether, I don't know, I'll kick it off again. I don't know, but it's nice to know that there's kind of still a lot of young kids out there who haven't heard songs like Eleanor Rigby and For No One and stuff. I mean, my own kids say to me, I love that song For No One, Dad. Is that a new one? No. Before You're a Twinkle in My Eye.
So they're not playing Beatles records around the house then, huh?
Well, they do play them, yeah. One of my daughters is into all the 60s stuff, she likes all the gear, Traffic and Cream and Beatles and stuff. It's coming back a lot. I think there's, like resurgence groups like The Doors, hotter than they ever were.
Well, and of course, Ringo is with you in Broad Street. Was George invited to participate?
No, the thing was, George was out of the country anyway. He lives out of the country part of the year. But the truth of the matter is, Ringo and I are the hams. George was always a bit quieter, and I don't think he has any ambitions in front of the camera. So that when we'd make Hard Day's Night, George would kind of sort of say, all this acting and stuff. And it was his personality, and he's not being sulky or anything. He just actually doesn't like to get in front of the camera. There's some people who don't like to be photographed, and there are some people who are hams. I'm afraid Ringo and I fall into the later category.
The movie, I suppose some people are going to want to compare it to Hard Day's Night and Help, and it's nothing like that.
No, that's true.
So did you purposely want to get away from that, Paul, or?
Well, not really. I think Hard Day's Night and Help were about the Beatles. I mean, that's what they were about. They were just made around the Beatles' life kind of thing. So I think that that particular kind of humour that came from four fellas knowing each other very intimately, and I mean, like you say, at your press conference when you stood up, we all sort of, as one, you know, we saw you on the telly. That kind of thing was peculiar just to the Beatles, and I wouldn't want to even try and recreate that, you know, because that was its own thing. But to do something new that has an air of it would be okay, you know. I think there's a type of humour in the film that's slightly harks back to those days, but I wouldn't want to do a copy, you know.
And of course, it's a PG-rated film.
That's right.
And we're so accustomed now to at least PG-13, and a lot of R, but you stuck with the PG.
Well, you know, I mean, I think if you feel that you need a lot of swearing or you need a lot of violence or whatever because your film's that way, I suppose you have to do it. You know, you can't just say, oh, well, you know, our hero, who's a crazy sailor, been at sea 50 years, doesn't swear. That'd be a little unbelievable. But when you're talking about something like this flick, there's no real need for me to go around sort of swearing. I'm supposed to be calm, cool, and collected during this, so I don't blow my top. And also, there is the element that having 4 kids of my own, I have that same problem of trying to find films I can take them to, you know, and not just make them head cases for the rest of their lives, you know. So I quite like that aspect. There was somebody the other day said, this is a film I can take my kids to, you know. And I personally like that, as long as it doesn't get too soppy and too sort of wet.
Too saccharine, too sweet.
Yeah, you know.
Paul, there, of course, we have, if I counted correctly, 14 songs in the movie, don't we?
Something like that, yeah. I haven't counted, actually.
And you have 3 new ones. So we do have a reprise of some of our favorites. It occurs to me, if you could keep a record of only one of your songs, what would it be?
Well, I don't know, really. You know, I get asked that question quite a lot. And I don't know, I mean, I should just have a pat answer, but each day it kind of varies. I like Here, There and Everywhere as a song. I'd probably make up a strange record with something like Here, There and Everywhere on the A side and a weird B side. You know, there's one of the old Beatles songs called You Know Me Name, Look Up the Number, which is like a crazy song nobody's ever heard, not many people have heard of. But just because making that record was such fun, it was like an insane record to make, and the memories that brings back, I'd probably stick that on the B-side.
Yes. Since John's death, are you and Ringo and George closer than you were?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that, you know, reminds you that you haven't got all the time in the world, you know, that things don't go on forever. And I think friendships, you know, you can sometimes sort of think, oh, you know, he'll be there. I'll ring him tomorrow. We'll sort it out next week, you know. I think something like John's death, which, you know, I still can't really believe myself, you know. I think, as I say, it reminds you that you haven't got all the time in the world. So it makes you get a little bit sensible.
Well, I think at any age, Paul, you know, we all have that experience at one way or another. I'm thinking about some of today's groups, and it seems to me, Paul, that now the emphasis is on makeup and weird hair and costuming, and it seems the presentation, there's more emphasis on that than there is the music. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree, actually. I mean, I know what you're saying. Obviously, on the surface, that's what's going on. But you must remember that when the Beatles came out, the talk was about their long hair, not their music. The talk was about their clothes, and the talk was about how different, what a shock they were compared to what had gone before. Because now, you look at the hair, it doesn't look long at all, you know, compared to something like Twisted Sister, who's out here, you know. It's just image. It always was and always will be. And in showbiz, there's always somebody who wants to kind of outdo the last guy. And you can't just say, hey, you can't do that, you know, because you can't put makeup on or something. It's an image. I think with somebody like Boy George or somebody you've got to be talking about when you're talking about makeup. He sings well. He makes good records. And I think that's really the bottom line. He uses his, androgynous bit to attract attention. And if that's what he wants to do, he's not harming anyone. No problem, really. I mean, I think if you do think of it sensibly and without all the emotion, there's actually no reason why women should be the only ones to put paint on themselves. African men used to spend all day out in the bush doing each other's hair and putting makeup on. It's perfectly kind of well-established tradition, really. It's just that we've got into a rut. Boys don't wear makeup. I don't particularly like to go around in it. But, each to his own.
Paul, as history goes on and history is recorded, how do you want to be remembered? What are you most proud of that you want to have included in history?
Oh, a bit of good music and a smile, maybe. Something like that. I mean, I couldn't say I want to be remembered for that. It's just, I don't know, a bit of good music, maybe. If they say he wrote and sang a couple of good things, that'll do me.
What would displease you most?
I think the worst thing about being a public figure, being in the media, and you'll know about this, is being misunderstood. Because, you're putting out an image, and someone in the newspaper decides to write about me, for instance, when you success and you get a lot of money, people tend to, they make up stuff. I mean, for instance, I'm careful with my kids not to load them with a lot of money. I think it'll spoil them, right? But I'm not really mean. But in the press, that comes over as mean. He said he goes with his kids to the fun fair and he only gives them a couple of dollars to spend or whatever it is. I do that on purpose. It's not meanness at all. Because, dead easy, I could give them £100 or whatever. But they'd flip. My kids would flip if they wouldn't know what to do with £100. We try and keep them normal, like ordinary kids, that I never saw any of that kind of luxury and that kind of success till my mind was a little older and able to adjust, able to cope with all that. So things like that, when I know I'm not mean, but it gets out in the papers, he's a real skinflint, whatever. It's difficult to know what to do. You can't ring up the paper and say, excuse me, it's Paul McCartney, I am not a skinflint, and here's a couple of bob to prove it, or whatever. You can't do all that. You just got to sit and just let it all happen, and that's annoying.
I can understand that. Paul, I could sit here the rest of the day and talk with you and be perfectly happy to do it, but there are others standing in line. Again, congratulations on Give My Regards to Broad Street.
Thanks, Bobbie.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope it's a big hit for you because I want you to make another movie, okay?
Okay.
Will you buy that?
I'll buy that.
All right, come to Texas and see us again.
All right, y'all. Okay.
Thanks, Paul. That was lovely. Okay.
Cut.
No. Paul, may I get you? Everybody's going to tell you this, but I can